Before we begin, 85% of you are not subscribed. And that's perfectly fine. I mean, you're still watching the video, so whether or not you subscribe is not really an issue. Thanks for being here. Merry Christmas, one and all. It's February. First things first, you may well have noticed the title says Part 1, and you're probably thinking,
I was not expecting this!
I'm going to be releasing this video in 3 parts, rather than one huge video like I was going to do. The main reason for that is that the last 2 YTPs on this list are for collabs that are currently not out yet, but are expected to be out a little later this year. But seeing as I made my entries last year, in fact I technically started one of them all the way back in 2019, it seems kind of crazy to leave them until the next retrospective, which will likely be in like 2024 or something, so I would really prefer them to be part of this one. But yet again, this is another case of me just expecting something to have already happened and then planning my videos around those false expectations. My bad. But this does mean you won't have to sit through nearly 3 hours of sort-ofs, oh yes, likes, and you-knows. Anyway, I hope you all had a good year. Last year, I certainly did. I had a load of stuff I wanted to do over the course of 2021, and I managed to get just about all of it done, I think. I did more than I expected to, in fact. So I'm going into this new year with a bit of a blank slate. I mean, I do have some things that I would like to do, but nothing big planned, for the time being at least. Anyway, this video isn't just about 2021, it's also about 2019, and whatever that thing in between was. Just like the last 2, we're going to go through all the YTPs I made over the course of these last 3 years. But, as you know, YouTube poops aren't the only form of content on this channel. I think at some point, I don't know when, I might do like a similar thing, but with every YTP MV I've ever made, or like music remix kind of thing. I'll go through all of them. Some other notable things I did, there was the big 1-hour Loco Roco trilogy review for the 5-year anniversary, as well as briefly holding the speedrun world record for Loco 2. Also did another highlights video for ISGP, that was a lot of fun. I'm still going to encourage you guys to watch that if you haven't yet. It's really easy to find. Literally just type in NSpy Vetty into the search bar, VETTY, no spaces, you'll find it. We finished the Insane Trilogy playthrough, halfway through Crash 2, but still. Yeah, those videos were so much fun to edit, as well as the Nitro Fueled videos. I might go back to Nitro Fueled at some point, actually. I literally have not touched the game since the Grand Prix ended, so it'll be interesting to go back now. Gaming videos stopped for a while, and I said in the vlog at the start of last year that I would bring them back, and I did one. Yeah, but I finally brought back Ratchet & Clank a few months ago, and there will be more on the way, as well as some other stuff, hopefully. Started a video essay series too last year, which I was not expecting to do at all, but it ended up being a pretty good outlet and a decent replacement for those WCPs that I used to do. If you don't know what I'm talking about, trust me, you're better off not knowing what those were. I hate most of the stuff I said in those videos, and they're not worth watching at all. I feel like now that I've said that, I've encouraged some people to go and watch them. Did a lot of music stuff. There was a Domination Army, Activate the Dance Bot, Haribo No. 5, A Scat in Time, A Woe in Space, Spro, I'm No Superman, But You're an All-Star, that's one of my favourite ones. Yeah, just overall, a lot of fun stuff over the past couple of years, over the past 3 years. But obviously this video will be primarily about the YouTube poops, and we've got 12 to go through, sort of. Kind of not exactly 12, it's complicated. There's 2 from 2019, 2 from 2020, and then the other 8 were all from 2021. That goes to show how productive I was last year compared to the 2 years before in terms of YouTube poops. I wasn't originally going to include the first 3 Foul House poops because I was planning to wait until I'd finished the season and then I'd react to the entire thing in one go. But at this point, I still don't know if I'm gonna get through the whole season, let alone the whole show. I can see myself maybe doing like 2 more or something, but it could get boring for me at any point, and the last thing I want to do is to not want to make a thing that I'm making. That was a really weird way to say that. Anyway, let's just get on with this. Also, you may have realized that this isn't going to be an on-camera one like the first 2 were. I know that adds a bit of a more relatable, comfortable atmosphere, you know, but I didn't really have time to set all that up this time, and also it's so much easier to edit audio than it is to edit video without it being all like choppy and annoying and me leaving in all these breaks, and you know, if it makes you feel better, there you go. Yeah, that can stay there, sure. I've got them all loaded up here, so here we go. We shall start with Ripto's Racist Reignited. Bit of background. For quite a little while, I'd wanted to remake some of my really old videos, kind of similar to what Awful Fawful did for a time. Kind of like repurposing old jokes into a video that was more in line with your current editing style. So I was planning to remake one of my oldest SpongeBob poops, either the Strangler one or the Patty Hype one. In fact, seeing as both of those videos are blocked almost worldwide, I might actually end up still doing that. But then the Reignited trilogy came out, and people asked if I was going to remake Ripto's Racist with the new cutscenes. And I was originally like, no, I'm not going to do that, of course. But yeah, the more I thought about it, the more it actually seemed like a fun idea. I was really intrigued with the idea of a remake that doesn't just do the same thing as the original, with the only difference being it looks better, but one that kind of like expands upon the ideas of the original and sort of shakes them up a bit, does them in slightly different ways. Kind of like the Reignited trilogy itself, now that I think about it. But, you know, in a way that's like almost like a tribute to the original, at the same time as having its own unique ideas, so that it can like appeal to people who have never seen the original before, while also having like callbacks and repurposed ideas to appeal to the people who have. Yeah, so take notes, companies that remake old stuff. That's how you do it without pissing people off. Anyway, I'm getting off track. Let's just watch this stupid Spyro video. I feel like I'm going to be struggling to find some things to say about this because this video was made so long ago that I won't have like a vivid memory of all my thought processes and stuff like that. Okay, yeah, that idea, well, obviously that was sort of like an evolved version of the missile hitting the Nork in the original opening of Ripto's Racist. But the idea of adding that Mario flying sound effect in actually came about because I was listening to the song that is playing in the background now, and I could have sworn I heard it in the song at that exact point in the song, and then I just thought, oh, you know what, there we go, I'll just do that in the video then, won't I? That little music cue is from The Simpsons Hit and Run, actually. I just added a bit of Spyro flair to it. Again, apologies if I'm going to be kind of like skipping over certain parts. I think part of it is because I've rewatched this video so many times that a lot of the jokes and ideas have just kind of become sort of commonplace for my brain. So I don't really register them as anything unique to talk about because it's like, that's how it goes. And it's kind of a weird feeling. Like I'll probably have more to say on the later videos than I will on this one. But yeah, this 224475 thing is a reference to the IT crowd. Oh yeah, I remember, because I had to get the instrumental of that, and I was looking around for ages trying to see if there was like an instrumental version of the song from that IT crowd scene. Of course there wasn't, because why would that be readily available? So then I was looking for like people who'd made like piano covers of it and things like that, until I eventually just thought, oh, you know what, I'll just add like a vocal remover effect onto the original scene, and that actually ended up working. The 725, the vocals are kept in because they actually do say 725. 2425, 725. That's my number. Please don't. I like that Rossetti's become such a recurring character in all of my YouTube poops because he's just really fun. He's basically just a still image, and I just do the lip sync stuff with my own mouth. And I also, this is also my lips on the professor here. I'm doing sort of a different kind of mouth shape, but yeah, that's still me. The professor
professor was working on some new pornography.
Oh yeah, this is actually not a picture of Elora. This is a picture of Coco Bandicoot. I think I found this picture at the same time that I found the one that I used in Mash Bandicoot. Don't take this the wrong way, but I saved it to my computer and I've just kind of had it there. It wasn't ever supposed to be Elora, but a lot of people just think it is Elora. But I think it's kind of funnier actually if it's Coco. Because I mean, canonically, the professor and Coco had met. I don't know. That joke I actually made a lot more obvious than in the original Ripto's Racist. In the original, it's literally just like a single frame flash of that guy from SpongeBob. Weed. Ripto saying weed there. I couldn't get the new Ripto to say it properly, so that is literally just the same clip. This is actually a very subtle reference to the first ISGP highlights video I made. I'm not sure how many people picked up on that. I'm not even sure if like Crystal Fisher picked up on that. Okay, so yeah, this bit with Gru on Ellen. I actually made this before I was planning to do this video entirely, and then I thought, oh, I can just put it in here because I have the like Despicable Me joke, so I can do that same joke and then just cut away to this. And I originally thought about like adding some extra stuff to it, but I think it actually works better if this bit is like completely separate from the rest of Ripto's Races Reignited, and then we just cut straight back.
If he's a king, then where is his crown? I've got the crown.
Oh, it's funny to think this was made not long after Deltarune Chapter 1, and it's only just recently been Chapter 2 a few months ago. But yeah, the idea of having K-Round be a consistent recurring character in this, I guess that just kind of happened by accident. I just thought it'd be funny if he had King Julian's voice, and then I thought, oh, actually that would make sense because I use King Julian's voice later on in the video for the how long is this going to take bit. So I could just have that be K-Round saying that.
Could we hunt a dragon?
This is something else I wanted to say. For a lot of these shots, I've always managed to find some edit to do. Like, edit it in some way. If it's not the audio that's edited, then it's something in the background that's edited, like the professor moving his arms rapidly and Hunter looking back and forth. Just like little things like that I did throughout all the video just to have it so that there wasn't any unedited shots, really.
How about?
Yeah, so many people have asked me what this is from. This is from a movie called Dragon Hunters. Oh yeah, and the little text thing at the bottom says 13 years ago. Which I realised after means that Elora was 1 year old. So, yeah, I didn't really think that through, did I?
No.
Surprisingly, I couldn't get a clip of him saying no from the Reignited trilogy, so I used the one from the original when he's, like, just doing his idle animations.
Last one, there's a pickup game.
Oh, yeah, and this music playing is actually a mix between Mushroom Gorge and Mushroom Speedway. Which, is funny. So yeah, this joke that's playing here, it's kind of hard to explain. It's like a very specific joke that like you would only really get if you were like thoroughly invested in my videos. And then the song merges into a mix of Mushroom Speedway and the Shaun the Sheep theme. And that was sort of like an elaborated version of the Shaun the Sheep joke from the original Ripto's Races. It's very complicated, okay? If I was like explaining every intricate detail of this video, we'd be here for hours.
Is it working, Professor?
Yes.
I had to pretty much the whole video together in order to find out that it was exactly 13 minutes and 20 seconds in order to make this joke accurate. But yeah, I knew people would be kind of disappointed if I didn't include the A Few More Adjustments song in it, so I'm glad I did because I prefer this version much more than the original. Like I've been saying, like a lot of this is just sort of like the same jokes from the original, but just like sort of pushed further, like elaborated on it or done in slightly different ways. So if you've watched the original and you're very familiar with the original, you know, you'd get a lot of this stuff. But at the same time, if you haven't watched the original, you can still enjoy it in this form, you know? Does that make any sense? I don't know if that makes any sense. But a lot of them are just like little subtle things that like are slightly similar, but like in a different way, you know? Slightly similar, but in a different way. Yeah, that's a good way to explain it. Oh, here's a good shot to pause on, actually. Because we got Moneybags dancing here, which comes up later on. Elora, that's actually one of the fawns from Fracture Hills, and I just put Elora's face over the top of it. And then this Bone Dance guy. It took me so long to cut out the Bone Dance guy, and I ended up actually doing it a bit wrong. Like, if you look at it, he's not actually flossing correctly. But it looks fine unless you actually pay attention to what his arms are doing. But yeah, that took a long time to cut out because it's a skeleton and there are so many little intricate gaps in between his rib cages and stuff like that. Once I'd done it, it's like I've got to use the hell out of that now, make it worth it.
You brought a thing out to the party.
Okay, I suppose I should address this, maybe. Should I address this? I don't know. When I'd first announced that I was going to be remaking Ripto's Racist, a lot of people had wondered if I was going to include as many uses of the N-word as I did in the original. And I think, I can't remember, somebody said recently that they were like, I can't remember what they said. I might be remembering wrong, but they said like to make it so that it's like more in line with modern day ideas about like surrounding the N-word and stuff like that. I don't want to get into this whole big debate about this, but I do find it strange how some people think that 2014 was so long ago when it really wasn't that long ago and not much has actually changed since then. It has changed, yeah, but it hasn't changed that much. It hasn't changed so much to the point where in 2014 it was in any way acceptable to say the N-word. And I feel like if I'd changed it, not only would it go against the title of the video, because the whole point is that Ripto is racist, so he says the N-word, and, you know, that was the kind of the big joke from the original, was because I reversed the word dragon, and it sounded like the N-word. But if I'd changed it now, that would kind of imply that I thought it was okay back in 2014, and I don't now. I'm very obviously aware that it is not okay to say the N-word, and it never has been. It just seems kind of strange that some people have that mentality that, like, offensive jokes and stuff like this are not acceptable now, but they were back then. You know, I get into this whole debate about, like, how YouTube poop is sort of like, I don't know if I'd use the term an exception, but, like, one of the fundamental things about YouTube poops is that you can be overtly offensive sometimes and sort of get away with it, because the whole point is that you're editing typically material that would never actually be that explicit and turning it into something explicit. You know, that's where the funny comes from, you know? It's not to say that you have to do that. I mean, like, if you look at somebody like The Things, that's a perfect example of how to make a YouTube poop without doing that and have it still be amazing. But I do not in any way think that because I make characters say the N-word, that means that I think that's okay in real life. Obviously it's not. And I feel like this is common sense, but I just wanted to explain that anyway. Oh my god, yeah, Ripto makes some hilarious facial expressions in these cutscenes. Look at him in the corner, look at that face. That's such a good face.
This isn't a face. It's just my face.
Oh yeah, that's the same Sparks that I used for Spyro Roasts. That's what it was. I made this Sparks animation and then filmed my own eyes. Oh, I love this joke. This worked so well. I can't believe how fitting this was. What is the meme even called? The boy with the trumpet and then the girl's covering her ears. That just fits so perfectly with the Satyr and the Earthshaper.
My name is Alora.
Borealis?
That's a lot of people's favourite joke in this entire video, Alora Borealis. Oh yeah, and this shot, this is not masked, this is chroma keyed from one of the cutscenes in Spyro 1. And I just chroma keyed out the background, actually, and meant that I didn't have to mask, which was nice because masking takes so darn long. A lot of this scene, I just kind of winged it. I didn't really have a good plan of what I was going to do aside from a few small things. So this was a lot of just like loading the source material into the editor and just sort of playing around. You know, what people normally actually do when they make YouTube poops. I like this joke here with Hunter, who just freezes and then Spyro and Alora still move.
It's my birthday.
Yeah, I actually used this back in the remix I did earlier. I like doing little things like that, like referencing things in the video that haven't actually happened in the video yet. Oh yeah, this was obviously the first scene I showed, all the way back in 2018 when I first announced it. Oh yeah, and I like doing like little things like that, like noticing little continuity errors in the cutscenes themselves and pointing them out. I remember just after I announced that I was going to be making this video, somebody sent me a mock-up kind of clip that they made of like a remake of this Moneybag scene with the new cutscenes. And yeah, you know, most of it does work. I didn't do exactly the same as they did. I added some extra stuff like that's a lot of damage, and then having them say that's a lot of salad.
No, that's a lot of salad!
It's fun. I love editing. It really is fun.
If Ripto were here, I'd give him one of these.
Yeah, I needed to change this joke because the original joke is literally just an audio clip from SpongeBob.
Okay. Still know a few moves.
This is about the time that I discovered that the editor I use has an animation feature where you can sort of create your own animation with a load of images and then load that in as its own little file, rather than having to put every single individual image in the editor yourself and having them take up so many slots because there's so many frames in an animation. You can just put them all together in one thing, and you can have it, have a transparent background and have it work perfectly. And I'm so glad that I discovered that while making this video, because the scene that's coming up later, with the Gulp boss fight, that would have been so difficult to do if I was adding every single individual frame into the editor one by one. But for this shot right here, I actually didn't know that. So this was actually made by adding each individual frame individually, and then I had to move them all separately in order to make it look like he was moving across the screen. I did it once, had him go like left to right, or right to left, I can't actually remember which one I did first. And then what I did is I saved that as its own thing, then I flipped the background, then I saved it as its own thing, and then I loaded both of them in, and the one that I'd flipped to the background, I flipped that video, therefore unflipping the background but flipping Moneybags, so then he could go left to right. And if I'd just only known that I could have just had it as one little block in the editor, and then just like copied and pasted that and just flipped it. But whatever, live and learn. I like that I'm still discovering things about the editor that I use. And, I still don't know everything that it's capable of. I mean, it's weird to go back and look at like some of my old videos like Ripto's Races now. Some of the editing in that is just so sloppy. And when you compare it to this video, Ripto's Races Reignited, it's a massive upgrade. I mean, I don't want to pat myself on the back too much, but I'm more so just saying how bad I was before rather than saying how good I am now,
Ooh, hey, okay. Say hello to my little friend.
I honestly don't know why I didn't come up with that joke for the original. That's right there.
Take that.
Yeah, and I thought this was a better sort of version of the Take That joke rather than having just like an image of Take That just flash up for a second. Okay, yeah, that shot right there, that is literally just a very slowed down version of him laughing. That is actually Ripto's voice. That came about because when I was editing the bit before and trying to match him laughing up with the look at the top of his head laughing guy, and I accidentally left the audio on for one of them, and then I listened to it, and it just sounded so funny to hear this like slowed down laugh of Ripto that I just thought, oh, I'm just going to include that in the video too. I love that you can do that in YouTube Poop, that you can just do something by accident in editing and then include those mistakes as like a fundamental part of the video. It's such a good creative outlet, really. I couldn't do the chips for tea thing again because that would just literally just be doing the same thing again. I might as well have just included the same bit from the original. Funnily enough, it was really hard to find the original McCain's commercial. I found a version that has a different voiceover. I literally don't know where it's gone. It's just disappeared from the internet, the original version of that commercial with that original voiceover.
Hey, who's that behind you?
That was a complicated shot, actually, with all those Spyros flying in. Because not only did I have to cut out Spyro, but I also had to cut out his shadow on the ground. But yeah, that was complicated to do. Well, I say complicated. It was time-consuming. That's a better way to put it. It wasn't hard. It just took a while. That's probably my favorite joke in this entire video. I love that, and I'm so pleased with how that looks.
I'm starting, and it really stinks.
Yeah. Sometimes you just come up with stuff, and then you just find it so funny that you're like, I can't think of anything better than that. Yeah, this is when I discovered the animation thing. This would have been impossible if I was adding each individual frame one by one for all of these animations going on at the same time.
Whoa, where did Laura go?
The creatures of Avalar.
This was one of the other scenes where I just loaded the source into the editor and just started messing around with stuff. Oh yeah, this Down Under scene, this was obviously sort of an elaborated version of the Down Under bit from the original Ripto's Racist. There's the instrumental of Land Down Under playing. There's also Stephen Fry singing, and then you have the guy in the Crash costume who's also singing I Come From the Land Down Under at the same time. I really like this with Spyro, Crash, and Ratchet. This was the last shot I think I did in the entire video. I specifically left this till last because I was holding out hope that some point while I was making this video, we'd get the intro cutscene for Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. Before we got the actual game, we'd like get the intro cutscene or something on YouTube. So I was holding out hope that would be uploaded at some point. because there's a shot in that where Crash is asleep on some grass. And I thought that would be so much easier than trying to chroma key this bit where he's asleep on some sand. I'm glad I didn't wait around for that, because not only did that not happen, but also the shot actually wasn't very good and it wouldn't have looked very good chroma keyed. It doesn't look great here, but you don't really notice it too much because the camera's zooming out. Oh yeah, I like this bit with me just like kind of overlaying the same words that the professor has already said. Power crystal, boost, the super portal. He says those words multiple times, so I just thought I'll overlay it every time he says it. And then it works so well because when he says the super portal should work, and his voice like breaks as he says work. Like he'd just been kicked. It worked perfectly.
So, you thought you had gotten rid of me. Well, I'm afraid.
That's quite a callback there. That's calling all the way back to Crustacean Resurrection Redemption, isn't it? The Snivetive Riggedy. What is it? Snivetive Riggedy. I don't remember what it is.
Don't even try it, bookworm, or you'll be the world's fattest pile of shit. Don't even try it. Don't.
This is one of the few jokes that actually worked better with the Reignited cutscenes than with the original. Having the professor like reach out and then come back and then keep doing that over and over again.
No! This is just what I need for a new...
And then the complete opposite of that, this is a joke that I couldn't do with the Reignited cutscenes because they kind of ruin the original joke in the Reignited cutscenes. The joke is that Alora says, you know, Hunter, do something and stop Ripto, and the joke is that Hunter just sits there and says, hey, give that back. And they changed it in the Reignited cutscenes and made it so that Hunter actually does like get up and try and catch him, which kind of just takes away the whole funniness of Hunter's character.
No! Hey! Swiss, give that back!
And then, this is another Ripto face. How similar does this look to the flippin' troll face? I love this. I thought that was so funny to have him like go off screen and then come back on screen, and just with the flippin' troll face.
Here you go. I'm going to rename this place Riptonia.
So yeah, obviously we got the Riptonia remix. There was no way I was not going to do that. I mean, that's like one of the most iconic parts of the original Ripto's Racist. I hope I did it justice. I really wanted to just make the best version of this song that I could, like this, have this kind of be like the definitive version. So I used the official instrumental of Disturbia for this one, actually. And the bomb beat in the corner is actually the right notes this time, and it's not just Ripto saying bomb. And then as an extra thing, I added this little bit with Hunter.
Maybe I can help. No!
Yeah, I've used that no so many times. That was just a voice clip from the actual Ripto boss fight, which is really funny because it's so different from the original. I think it happens when you like charge into Ripto and you just kind of stop him in his tracks for a sec. In the original, Ripto goes, no! And in this one, he just goes, no! And I just thought that was really funny.
Help. Whoa, what?
I used the Insane clip from for Cortex there, even though that what is actually from that Crash of the Titans cutscene that I used heavily in Mash Bandicoot. Because the way that Ripto says what and the way that Cortex said what in that one scene sounded so similar that I played them both at the same time.
If you want to test that sex crystal, why don't you try it on
My testicle.
Oh yeah, I loved the True Arceus' reaction to this.
And then the Dragon Balls. Oh, Dragon Balls.
Oh yeah, like similar with Moneybags right here. In this version, Spyro actually stays dead. So yeah, I guess I'll talk about this bit. I can't remember when I came up with this idea, but I remember I was over the moon when I finally did, because I knew that I couldn't do the same thing that I did in the original Ripto's Racist with having that whole like fight scene with Hunter getting these superpowers and having his claws and flying and stuff like that, and this is super stupid and overly elaborate fight scene between Hunter and Ripto. Yeah, I just knew that wouldn't really have worked because the character of Hunter in Reignited just feels like a very different character to the original Hunter. He doesn't have that same charm, and it just wouldn't have worked very well if I just like kind of recreated it with the new Hunter. So I eventually came up with this idea: what about if the original Ripto meets the new Ripto? And once I came up with that, I was like, oh my god, that's the best idea ever. Yes, I'm definitely going to do that.
I'm Ripto, and I'm the fucking king. No, I'm the real Ripto. You are just a little
Polygonal ass.
nerd.
This bit wasn't actually supposed to be a rap. I'd done all the sentence mixing stuff first. And by the way, I was going to bring this up. Even though they're both voiced by Greg Berger, I intentionally made it so that I only used their like very specific Ripto's voices when sentence mixing for those respective versions of Ripto. Does that make sense? You know what I'm trying to say. But anyway, I did all the sentence mixing first, and then I was like, okay, I need to come up with like some kind of music to be playing in the background for this scene. And then I thought, with them both saying like, I'm the real Ripto, I thought, oh, well, what if I just put the instrumental of the real Slim Shady? And then I put that in, and then what they were saying seemed to just sync up with the song, and I thought, let's make it sort of like they're rapping in a way, and sort of like purposely make it sync up with the song. And so that's how this whole bit came about, and I'm glad I did that because this is a really fun scene. Yeah, I love this shot with both Riptos on screen at the same time. And also, another amazing Ripto face right here, smug face Ripto. That's one thing that the new Ripto definitely has over the old Ripto, is that he can give some brilliant facial expressions. These voice clips were actually from one of Greg Berger's characters in a Star Wars game. I think Acer Code sent me this years ago, and I used some of them at the end of Ripto's Regicide as well. I think the clip when Ripto says, "Please don't kill me. Anything you want, I'll name your price." That's from this same scene.
No, please.
It was a great scene. It was great making that. I loved the idea of bringing the original Ripto back. That's kind of a really nice way to sort of close off the, I guess the trilogy in a way, to just bring the original PS1 Ripto back, and have him just kill off the new Ripto.
In fact, I'm moving in.
I like that shot with the flag being rolled up and then the original PS1 flag coming down. I remember somebody said in the comments that they were really appreciative that I just took the time out to make that one shot, and I'm glad I did too. I really like that shot.
The pony place. Wonderful. You're Ripto.
Those were basically the exact same shots from Ripto's Regicide. I found the old project files, but just with a different sky in the portal. So he goes back to Counterpart. So this basically means that Ripto's Racist Reignited is not only a remake of Ripto's Racist, but also takes place in some sort of parallel universe to the original Ripto's Racist, but takes place after Ripto's Regicide. And so it's like this complicated, like, multiverse, you know, or the NPCU, as I call it.
How about some chips?
Oh my god, so many people pointed out to me that Cheetos are not chips. To be fair, I am a British, and if we had Cheetos, which I'm not even sure, do we have Cheetos? I don't even know. If we had Cheetos, we would call them crisps, and my understanding was that chips was the American version of crisps. Therefore, Cheetos are chips. Apparently they're not. Apparently they're just like a different kind of snack food. So I'm very sorry, my American viewers, for getting that wrong.
Hunter, that's just what I need.
Yeah, so it was nice to end on that somewhat like positive note of Hunter. Cause I don't know why Hunter's there. I guess he just was there before, so he's just still there now with all the baby dragons. But sort of having it so that Ripto's kind of accepted that this is where he's going to be from now on, and, you know, kind of making the most of it. And then we've got these credits here with that Ripto running animation that I cut out all the way back for the original Ripto's Racist, and I've had saved. And I've used it multiple times. I still use it in new videos to this day. But then having Spyro sort of chase him in these shots, which some of them were taken from the original Spyro trailer. Some of them I actually recorded myself from levels from Spyro 2 and Spyro 3. Oh yeah, so for this little after credit scene, I had a few different ideas for this. I was originally just going to do the same sauce joke that I did for the original Ripto's Racist, and I thought, no, that sucks. I think I did have this one joke where it was going to be this shot of Ripto hopping up the stairs, but the stairs were never ending, and then I was going to play the Endless Stairs music, and I didn't really like that either. And then I eventually came up with the idea of referencing the "you can't say the N-word" meme, because I just thought that fits so perfectly with Ripto, doesn't it? With him saying, "I'm going to say the N-word," and then I thought, oh, Sergeant Bird is a penguin. He can be the one who says, "You can't say the N-word," and then he just shoots his rockets at Ripto.
I'm going to say the N-word.
You can't say the N-word!
So yeah, that's Ripto's Racist Reignited. Yeah, I'm very happy with that video. I would go as far as to say that's probably the best YouTube poop I've ever made. It's not the most popular, it's not even my favorite. I still would say that Mash Bandicoot is my favorite. But I think in terms of quality, that's probably the best that I can possibly do. You know, you're always going to improve over time, I suppose, but I think that video is a very good example of like the best that I can do, you know, in terms of making YouTube poops. I'm very happy with that. I think it's just a very, you know, I think I said this on Twitter before that like when making my videos, I often try and prioritize it flowing really nicely over having like consistently good jokes and ideas and stuff like that. So sometimes I will keep in some of the lesser stuff that I don't like all that much, just to make it like flow better and just have it like sort of be a more coherent experience. I don't know if any of this is making any sense. But for Ripto's Racist Reignited, there was not a single point in that video where I thought this isn't very good. Or I thought I'm just going to have to deal with this stupid joke in order to have it be like good setup for something later on, or just to have it like be in between these two other things, or anything like that. All of it I really, really liked, and I'm very, very proud of that video. I was kind of worried because it was a remake of, you know, Ripto's Racist, which was like one of the first like videos on my channel to get pretty big. Obviously that was in part, well, I say in part, it was pretty much entirely down to Lemon putting it on his top YTPs of 2014 list. I still remember the day I saw that video and I was like so blown away that Lemon put my video at number 1. That was so crazy. But yeah, I mean, I was worried that I wasn't gonna do it justice, or I would, or like people would say like, oh, this is alright, but like, you know, the original is a classic. I prefer that one and stuff like that. But I think universally people really, really liked this video, even if they didn't necessarily prefer it to the original. A lot of people agreed that like I did this the right way, I suppose, because Jimmy D put it on his top YTPs of 2019 list. I can't remember what place it was. If I try and guess what number it was and it's like too high, then I'm going to sound so pretentious. I think it was like at least in the top 5. I might if it wasn't and it was like 12 and I'm just like, oh yeah, it was in the top. Oh, that's going to sound so bad. Like I said, I think it worked really well. It was just very good timing that around the time I wanted to remake one of my old videos was when the Reignited trilogy came out. But yeah, I am very, very happy with RRR. I loved making it. I'm so pleased about all the positive reception and stuff. Yeah, I guess that's all I really have to say on that. Okay. And now we'll move on to Prix Mature. Genuinely one of the best names I've ever come up with for a YouTube poop. So yeah, this is a YouTube poop of CTRTV, which were these little cutscenes that they made for Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled to introduce each of the Grand Prix, featuring the unexpected return of Chick and Stu, lovingly portrayed by Roger Craig Smith and Kevin Michael Richardson. I made this in the midst of the Grand Prix events. I think it was during the third one. So yeah, let's get it started in here, as they say.
I am live from the people that brought you semen in a can.
So already got something to talk about. Not only did it take me ages to realize that the voiceover for the CTRTV things is the same voiceover from some of the Mind Over Mutant cutscenes, that I used some of that in Mash Bandicoot, didn't I? Which I called back to right here, the semen in a can. Yeah, not only did I not realize for ages that was the same voice, I also didn't know that it was Lex Lang doing that voice. If you really try, you can sort of hear the similarities between that voice and Cortex's voice, but yeah, it's definitely a different voice that Lex is putting on there.
This is CPS Sex Edition. Welcome, Internet Fascists. I'm Dick Lips, and this is Mike.
I believe I did this in more or less the same way that I've done Poof Boy Gets Pizza or Steven's Fried Chicken and things like that, where it's just, I just load the audio into Audacity and just start messing around and no real plan, just seeing what I can come up with on the spot.
As you complete each racing challenge, your gauge.
I think that was probably the first joke I came up with. Funnily enough, to pause on this frame, there's actually a little editing error here. I don't know if you can notice it. It's to do with the desk. Because Chick and Stu were on a blue background that was really easy to just chroma key out, I thought I'd put together like a few shots where I could have like them both on screen, but then both like doing different things. So I recreated the set and then I would just add them in when necessary. So I did that for this shot right here, and then I lined it up so that the desk would like match up with each of their individual clips. Then what I did is later on in the video, which I'll point out when it comes up, is I did it again, but because it was the same set that I just had in the timeline already, and it was just all these other clips were just playing on top of it, I'd forgotten that I'd used it already. And so I moved the desk a little bit in order to make it match up with that one, and thus I moved it out of place for this shot and didn't realize until ages after. It's one of those things that you're really not going to notice at all unless somebody like me points that out.
Breaking news, folks! We have an exclusive look at the latest news.
I think that was quite a late addition, the putting that little flash on screen with the scream. I've done a lot of little references to Mind of a Mutant, and as well as Crash Tag Team Racing. It will come up in a second. It's still so crazy to me that they brought Chicken Stew back. I mean, they brought like a bunch of obscure characters back for Nitro Fueled, but I really never thought I'd see Chicken Stew in a Crash Bandicoot game ever again. And then they're like front and center here.
They might have breasts, but they will punch back.
Oh yeah, this was, once I uploaded this video, you know YouTube tries to detect what words are actually being said so that it can like just make subtitles for you. And it got like pretty much all of this video right. So that either means that my sentence mixing is top notch, or it means that YouTube's automatic caption detection thing is top notch. Either way, the notch is up there.
You know what I'm saying? Stop.
So yeah, that was changed. What I was originally going to do is I was going to have this really deliberately stupidly long bit of Stu laughing.
Stu? Stu? This is no laughing matter.
In fact, I think I made that joke. Well, I made that joke in one of my videos. Oh, I think it was one of my video essays. Get it on board? Because it's a ship. Editor, play that clip of chick laughing.
This is no laughing matter.
But yeah, I changed that because even though the joke was that it went on way too long, it still went on way too long.
You can also find other unique items like this in the piss.
I like a lot of these jokes. This is another one of those videos where I think like pretty much the entirety of it had been quoted in various comments in the comment section. Oh, this is the shot. Yeah, this is the shot that I was talking about earlier. That I just have Stu making that face.
This just in, I have the most precious things.
I think that joke came about because I was just playing the clip in like media player or something, and then I was just sort of skipping back and forth with the slider, and then I just accidentally made it so that it went, I have the most precious cheeks. And then I just thought that was so funny, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to put that in the video. Again, similar to the thing I said earlier. You can just do that with YouTube Poobs.
Anything else they need to know there, Stu? No, that sums it up for this edition of CTR TV.
Chick isn't actually saying that there. That footage is not from him saying that sums it up for this edition of CTR TV. That's him saying something completely different, but it matched up pretty well anyway. And then of course you got this joke at the end.
I hope the drivers are ready because he's short.
Yep, I like that video. I'm pretty happy with that video. I like that I've sort of continued the tradition of making some form of YouTube poop for each like new Crash or Spyro game that's come out in recent years. That's still so crazy to me because there was just so many years of nothing, and I genuinely thought there would never be anything else, and then all of a sudden, I mean, there's only been one Spyro one and it was a remake, but still. And now we'll move on to Peter Wanted to Go Bowling, which is probably one of the worst names. Yeah, I actually made this before Prix Mature, I think. This was obviously for Jimmy Davis's Peter Man 2 collab. If you'll recall, I was part of the first one as well, and he invited me back for the second one. He asked me if I had any preferences for what scene of the film I wanted to do for my part, and I asked for a more like physical scene, just to kind of shake things up a bit, because my first entry... Well, it was actually 3 different scenes, that one. But they were all like fairly dialogue heavy. So I thought, yeah, let's have like an action scene or something, see what I can do with that. As it turns out, I don't know what the hell I was doing with that. Oh yeah, this was also the first time working in a widescreen aspect ratio. So this first joke, this was a joke that was originally planned to be in Flockwood's Oversized Meatballs. This was well before I had really started working on Flockwood's Oversized Meatballs. It wasn't even, I hadn't even thought of the title by then. But for quite a long time, I had the idea to make a Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs YouTube poop. And this is one of the jokes that I was going to do in it. I think when I made this, I wasn't sure if I was ever going to get around to making that Meatballs YTP. So I thought, I'll just use that joke here, because it still works. I mean, it's nothing to do with Spider-Man, but it's still a fun joke to start off with.
I'm willing to kiss you.
Hero time!
Hero time. I think I talked about this in my last retrospective, where that's from, so I won't go over that again.
Fuck it.
I do like that masking on JonTron there. That, for my standards, that's pretty good, considering, like, it's a live-action thing.
Wait.
In hindsight, I don't know how he smelt the pizza, because there was no pizza. The box was empty. I guess he just smelt... I don't know. I'm trying to explain the lore of this thing, even though it makes no sense. But I just like the idea that he would go in to save the pizza. This music in the background of this whole scene is one of the songs from the Doctor Who soundtrack, I believe. I guess I just must have had it in my head, and I thought this would go good as background music for this. And I really like the build-up to him running in, and then you think that's when the song's going to kick in. The sum, obviously from the start of All-Star, which was supposed to sort of make you think that he was about to break through the door, you know. But I did actually tune the sum to the song. Instead of going like, sum, it goes, sum. I'll have auto-tuned my voice in editing, so you'll understand what I'm talking about. And then he just hits the door. So yeah, that whole thing about Peter constantly ramming into the door, that came about just because I just kept putting it in there. I mean, it's as simple as that. That wasn't a planned recurring joke. I just put it in the editor and thought it was funny, and then later on I thought it would be funny to do it again, and then that just became like the recurring joke of the whole video.
I guess I'll go up these stairs. Even though it's going to take my entire life.
Him sort of like having JonTron as kind of an internal monologue thing. I guess because when I got the fuck it bit from earlier, I rewatched JonTron's video on Clock Tower, and then a lot of the quotes and stuff he said in that video just sort of worked well. And I'm sure a lot of people picked up on this, but if you'll notice in the background, throughout this whole scene, you can hear Mr. Incredible and Frozone. So I guess the joke there was that it's the same burning building and they're just sort of like in a different room and you can just sort of hear them.
Damn this door!
I like that joke. I think if I tell you what my original idea was for that, then you're gonna cringe. So my original idea was that instead of saying damn this door, it was going to be Stuart K. Riley saying green screen explosion.
Green screen explosion.
Because this looks like the green screen explosion on the building here. And that was a dumb joke, and I'm glad that I changed it to damn this door because that works so much better. And like people will know that that's him saying when you fix this damn door, and I just changed it to damn this door.
I'm going to die.
Okay.
This is actually my hand here. Yeah, I took a picture of my own arm. Oh yeah, and for that shot, I had to put glasses on him because in those original shots he doesn't have glasses, but in this scene he does have his glasses on because he's not like in Spider-Man mode. In Spider-Man mode? What am I talking about?
Am I not supposed to have...
Yeah, now we get into the actual good part of the entry. I love that. The clouds appearing like that, that looks so good. I was so happy with how that turned out. That was literally just like a chroma key thing that I just adjusted the levels so that they'd like gradually decrease so that it would like gradually become visible, and then I just added sort of a blur effect on it to disguise that. But it looks so natural and I love that.
What do you need?
I was surprised how good that voice clip sounded. That's the voice clip from SpongeBob on the Rip Pants episode when he pretends to drown. I slowed it down and I added a load of reverb and stuff like that, and it sounded really good actually. I knew exactly what I was doing here. Let's not lie. This is funny. I added the sound clip of Sully saying hello, and then a bit later on as I was editing I was like, oh wait, what if it's just Sully coming through the door and I'll just have him a bit out of focus in the background. I like that, it's a funny visual.
That's not what I want.
I don't really know what I was going for there. I just added like a solarized effect and gave him a distorted voice, and then to finish it off I did this. So yeah, in terms of whether I like that more than my Peter Man 1 collab entry, I honestly don't know. I will say this, in exactly the same way, I think the last third is the best part. I was able to plan that out a bit and get sort of a vague script and stuff and sort of basic ideas. But the first scene, the first 2/3 of the video, I had no idea what I was doing. I literally just loaded the source into the editor and I just went from there. There was no plan whatsoever. And this was the result. People seem to like it. There's some parts that I like about it. I do like how random it is and how it's all going along to this music and with the incredible stuff and this repeated joke of him slamming into the door. But yeah, I definitely think that the last bit is the best part. Now we'll move on to Robotnik in Trouble. Strictly speaking, the only YTP I made in 2020. But that's because I spent most of the year working on Mesh Bandicoot DLC. But yeah, because I was working on that, like non-stop for several months, I just kind of wanted to take a quick break and make something really basic, really easy, not something that I was like overly concerned with, quote-unquote, getting right, you know? So yeah, let's get into this. Different aspect ratio again, because I was going to say the cutscenes, the show, the cartoon, is in 4:3, so it was easier than having stuff like go out of frame and black bars on the sides and stuff like that.
I'm never in trouble. I make me sick. Sing!
Master, I captured the hedgehog and fought them in the courtyard.
A lot of very, like, obvious jokes. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody's made that exact joke before in a Robotnik poop.
Squad, and you two are demoted to scrub my dinner.
I like that it cuts back and forth between 3 or 4 different episodes of the show.
I want you two to test the testicle cruncher. Whoa!
A lot of people said in the comments that it really does feel like a classic Robotnik poop, but I think that's just because it's Robotnik.
Let's meet the judges.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this this cutaway bit here to Titan Idol. I think I was originally going to do a Titan Idol YouTube poop, and then I couldn't come up with quite enough ideas. And also, because there's already an amazing Titan Idol poop that I just couldn't top. It's by Sarah94.
Oh, I can do this. Hold on.
I'm afraid not. You're gay.
No, wait. I'll start over.
Go look that up. One of the earliest YouTube poops I watched. Still really funny. Just go and watch that.
First, we have the world's only black doctor.
I know some people did. How many of you picked up that was a subtle callback to Five Nights at Foster's?
The world's only black dentist.
I'm making you head of the SSSS squad.
You spelled Sonic with a C.
Oh yeah, so here's a funny thing. Oh, well, actually, there's 2 funny things. Okay, let's say the first funny thing first, and then I'll say the second funny thing, and then you can decide which is the funnier of the funny things. So the first thing is that not long after I made this video, there was a tweet from, was it from like the official Sonic the Hedgehog Twitter account, or from somebody else about the Sonic movie, and they misspelt Sonic exactly like this, with a C. I have no idea how they did that, but it was just a very funny coincidence that I made that joke. Maybe it's not a coincidence. Maybe they were referencing me. The other funny thing is that this whole joke here about I'm making you head of the SSCSSS squad, but actually he says it wrong. He says too many S's. It's Super Special Sonic Search and Smash Squad. So that's 5 S's and then squad. In that episode, he says SSSSSS squad.
I'm making you head of the SSSSS squad.
And I didn't realize that until after. I changed 2 of the S's and replaced it with CS, but it's still wrong. I hate that. They do some really weird, gross animation in Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog sometimes. That pulling the brick out of his eye thing. And there was another thing that really grossed me out before. There's this bit where... I'm going off topic here, but, I don't have that much to say on this video, so it doesn't matter. There's this bit where Tails is sort of flying, and then he gets surprised by something that Scratch or Grounder does, or something like that, and he sort of screams, and then he sort of, like, collapses in on himself, and then comes out the back of himself, and there's this really gross sound that plays when he does that. I have no idea how to explain it. I'll just play the clip here.
I hate that so much, dude. Disgusting.
So yeah, in the same way, this was just a lot of simple sentence mixing and just going with the first thing that came to my head, basically.
Not me! Idiots! I haven't said pingers yet, you knickers!
I like that joke. Subverting the expectation of him saying Pingus. And then he gets annoyed that Scratch interrupts him before he can actually say it.
Get him! Get him! Get that hedge him!
I was surprised how seamless that sounded. Get that hedge him. This is such a ridiculous shot.
It's your fault, you bird! I never should have made trouble!
Oh yeah, and somebody pointed out that that because I ended it like that, the video kind of loops perfectly. I like that aspect of the video that it's sort of like, it's about like 3 or 4 different episodes and it's just like little bits here and there, and then it sort of switches to another episode and something else happens, and it switches back to one of the others. It was just a very quick video. I made that very quickly. That was probably like only a few hours editing that. It was fun, and it was nice to take a break from Mash Bandicoot DLC. Speaking of which, whoops, you'll have to wait until part 2 for that. Thanks for watching this first part though. If you have any questions about any of the YTPs I covered in this video that I didn't already answer, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'm pretty likely to respond. I'd say just about the 4 I covered here, not the ones I have yet to cover, because there's a high chance I'll answer it when I do cover them anyway. And I'll see you in part 2, which should be, I don't know, a month or 2 from now. I mean, depending on when you're watching this, it might be out now. And if it is, you can just click right here. Click it. It'll be something else if it's not out yet. It'll probably be some other video like, oh no, he's a big shot, or something like that. Okay, yeah, I'm a go now. Bye.